And now to film myself eating a chocolate bar, as is my custom. Oh, no golden key here. What? Oh, hockey. Welcome to the penalty box. Sorry for not posting a vlog in, well, forever. I filmed a vlog wrapping up the Stanley Cup final, but personal things got in the way of me editing and posting it, so I just had to put it on the back burner. Anyway, now it's gotten so late that nobody would care even if I did offer my opinions on the Stanley Cup final, so I'm just gonna let it go. All I'm gonna say is this. Congratulations to the Boston Bruins, and especially good old Thomas Kaberle on being the 2011 Stanley Cup champions. Moving on. Well, I'm feeling quite happy today, and it's all because of what I'm wearing. As you might have noticed, I'm not wearing my usual jersey. Note the absence of the C for FNUF. Well, check this out. Woo! Now, maybe some of you didn't catch that, so let's do it again. In slow motion. Woo! That's right, a personalized jersey. My reward, I guess, for winning the Dangle Prizes Vlogger of the Year. Huge thank you to Monica with a K and all the good people at Leafs TV. Alright, let's get down to business. Lots happening in the free agency whirlwind. Here's what the Leafs have been up to. Alright, going way back, just prior to the draft, the Leafs pick up Colorado defenseman John Michael Liles for their first round pick in the 2012 draft. I like this trade a lot. If you'll remember, we got this pick from Boston in the Thomas Kaberle deal, which means that now, in exchange for Thomas Kaberle, we get Joe Colborne, a 2011 first rounder, and John Michael Liles. Not bad return there. Another positive about this trade is that, as some of you will remember, we were close to getting him last year as well. In fact, Colorado's asking price that time was more than it was this time. But what's important is that this gives us a big offensive punch on our back end. Liles had 46 points in 76 games last season. This will give us the puck mover that we lack. Moving on, in the draft, the Leafs managed to move up and select Tyler Biggs at 22nd overall and Stuart Percy at 25th overall. The Leafs gave Anaheim their 30th and 39th pick overall to move up to 22nd, and with it take the prototypical Burke forward, 6'2", 210-pound truculent Tyler Biggs. This guy spent time with the US Under-18 team. He's got some promise. He's another big-bodied prospect. And at 25th, they took Stuart Percy, a defenseman from the Memorial Cup finalist St. Mike Majors. He was even selected to the Memorial Cup All-Star team. Of course, these guys are big, tough, trot out any Burkeism you want, they've probably got it. But again, keep in mind, we won't be seeing these guys anytime soon. They've still got a year or two to play in junior, and considering the lineup we have, good luck cracking that, especially as a D-man. Keeping going, just before free agency, the Leafs took care of some business, signing goalie Ben Scrivens and forward Jay Rosehill to one-year contracts. Good stuff, these guys deserve to stay around. Not much more you can say about it. And finally, we come to the reason I was rushing through those other signings, the major signing on June 2nd. Tim Connolly signs a 2-year, $9.5 million contract with the Maple Leafs. And the idea from the Leafs head office seems to be that this guy is going to be our new #1 center. Ugh. Okay, where do I start with this one? You may recognize the name Tim Connolly from his time with the Buffalo Sabres. You may also recognize him if you're an employee of a hospital in the Buffalo area. Because you see, Tim Connolly's been playing in the NHL for 10 years and has only played 2 complete seasons. In fact, the last time he played a full season was in 2001 to 2002, 9 years ago. He missed an entire season due to injury, 2003 to 2004, just before the lockout. Since then, in the last 6 seasons, the most he's played is 73 games. The second most is 68. And this is our #1 center? We'll be lucky if we get a full season out of him. This is not a Heffy Wiggle happy face. To be fair, Connolly can produce at almost a point-a-game pace when he's healthy. And his numbers suggest he's a capable setup man when he's healthy. But the problem is, that's not very often. If we had a guy with his stats that didn't get injured every season, I'd be totally on board. And I guess the good thing about this deal is that it's short-term, so if Connolly's problems get worse, we're not tied down to him for the next 5 years. I just don't get first-line center star money for this guy. Now, Connolly says his injury-filled days are behind him, which is also what every injury-prone athlete in the history of time has said. We'll just have to take a leap of faith, but... ugh. And, of course, there's the matter of Brad Richards and Paul Stastny. In fact, I think this would sting less if I didn't have those names dangled in front of me. As for Richards, we lost out because we weren't prepared to make ridiculous offers. Richards signed with New York for 9 years and $60 million. And as you all know, it's one of those front-end loaded contracts which pays him less than $500,000 in his final year. Which is basically saying, let's face it, he's not going to play that final year. So it does two of those things Burke hates. It's a long-term deal, and it circumvents the cap. Well, it works out for Richards because he's employed long-term, he knows where he's spending the rest of his career. And it probably helps that he's reunited with his old coach from Tampa, John Tortorella. And as for the Stastny deal, I want to apologize for that one. Apparently the deal fell through because Colorado, even with Paul Stastny's contract, were under the cap floor. So to make the deal go through, the Leafs would have had to give up a high-priced player like Mike Komisarek or Jeff Finger, or both. And apparently, they were not willing to do that. So Stastny stays in Colorado and instead, welcome to town, Tim Connolly. Going back to Tim Connolly, yeah, I'm probably being hard on the guy. He hasn't had a chance to prove himself yet. I just really don't like the risk factor in this deal. Good luck, Connolly. I sure hope my fears are proven wrong. Moving on to the next deal, one I actually really like. The Leafs acquire another injury-prone forward in Matthew Lombardi from the Nashville Predators. Oh, and some defenseman named Cody Franzen. In return, the Leafs will be sending defenseman Brent Lebda and prospect forward Robert Slaney to the Preds. Two reasons I really like this. One, Cody Franzen is a young, talented defenseman. He's 23 years old, and he just set a career high this year, scoring 29 points over 80 regular season games and 6 points over 12 playoff games. Number two, goodbye, Brent Lebda. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. And at first, some of you might hesitate when you hear the name Robert Slaney. You may remember him as a supposedly promising lad from the QMJHL. And I was too, until I remembered that that promising lad is now 22 years old and spent most of this season in reading in the ECHL. In fact, he only spent 9 games with the Marlies this year. But looking at the other parts of this deal, Matthew Lombardi. This guy is another one of those guys that just cannot stay healthy. Over his career of 7 years, he's had 1 season where he's played a full 82 games. But that's a bit deceptive of me to say because there was another season where he played 81 games, so we'll give him that one too. So he's 29, he's spent 7 years in the NHL, and he's only been healthy in 2 of them. And it's about to get worse. This past season, he's played 2 games. 2 games! He got a concussion in his second game out against the Hawks. He was knocked out for the rest of the season and the playoffs. Now, considering that, it's obvious why the Preds make this deal. Unload him. Their situation was, they felt they couldn't move forward with this dead weight, so let's find a buyer. And the reason for the Leafs making this deal? Cody Franzen. The Preds GM David Poley even said in his press conference that he felt the Preds were giving up a lot of talent, but they just couldn't afford to keep Lombardi around. In my opinion, Lombardi may play half a season, maybe not, but when he's healthy, he'll be stowed in the bottom 6 somewhere. Most likely the 3rd line. There were some draft picks involved too, with Toronto's 4th rounder going Nashville's way if Lombardi plays over 60 games over the next 2 seasons. If he doesn't, Nashville gives up their 4th rounder in 2013. Shortly after that, the Leafs make the most anticipated signing in Ontario's capital since the end of the season. Clark MacArthur is returning for another 2 years. His deal will pay him $6.5 million over the next 2 seasons, a very fair price for a 20-goal, 60-point scorer. And on the same day, Tyler Bozak also signed to a new contract, netting him $3 million over the next 2 seasons. Nice price for Bozak. Let's see if he can turn it around after a crummy sophomore campaign. If he's more like the nifty kid we saw deke out Philly's defense for his first career goal 2 seasons ago, great. If not, well, we didn't lose that much money over it anyway. And after that move, not much of anything. The Leafs have been mostly making small signings since then. Philippe Dupuis, Matt Lashoff. In fact, the only signings that even remotely matter are the signings of Mike Zigomanis and Darryl Boyce. Great, shore up the bottom 6. And according to Brian Burke, that's pretty much it. They feel they've got a lineup that can compete. And you know what? I agree. We saw a lineup remarkably similar to this one make a push for the playoffs at the end of last season when all seemed lost. So you get rid of Brent Lebda, add Franzen, add Tim Connolly when he's healthy, and hey, let's do this. Only one piece left to sign, Luke Schenn. But Berkey will get it done. Alright, that's it from my end. See you nearer to the hockey season. 2 months out, guys. Peace.